Welcome to part 4 of this Football Manager 2016 experiment, where we're trying to see if we can get Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland and Faroe Islands to dominate world football. I've improved all the nations, I've improved some of the clubs in all of those nations as well. And we've had lots of success so far, apart from Faroe Islands, who predictably, I guess, have been the worst team and haven't won anything. They've only managed to qualify for one European Championships. And I thought we'd take a look at Faroe Islands to start off part 4 today. As you can see, they're 124th in the world. They've been in the 50s regularly in this experiment, but they've completely dropped off lately, which is a great shame. I'm thinking perhaps in the last 10 years of the experiment, between 2090 and 2100, I'll give them an extra boost. And maybe give them some world-class players as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Just for a bit of fun in the last 10 years, we'll try and get Faroe Islands to get up there with the other 5 nations. However, they do actually produce some really good players occasionally anyway. Their best player at the moment is Dan Jacobsen, 22-year-old striker, plays for AC Milan. Look at that, unbelievable player. But if we look at him in detail, 175 current ability, arguably almost world-class already. 198 potential. So he could potentially be one of the best players, if not the best player we've seen yet in the game. We've already seen an Icelandic with 198 potential and he managed to reach 198 current ability. That was Gudjon Svensson. Perhaps didn't quite live up to that current ability in terms of winning World Player of the Year awards and that sort of thing. But perhaps this guy can. He's got 15 goals in 39 games for Faroe Islands. He is 22 though. There's still maybe a couple more years of growth left in him. So perhaps at AC Milan he will be able to get up to that level. And this is a player that's just naturally being created. I've not done anything to create this guy, apart from right at the start, obviously, improving all the nations. But I mean, I haven't given Faroe Islands an extra boost yet. But perhaps in 2090, if you want me to, then I will. Because I've already holidayed up to 2090 already, so whatever's happened up to that point has happened. But for the last 10 years, I haven't holidayed yet, so perhaps I could boost Faroe Islands. He's had a mixture of clubs, been on loan at millions of teams, hasn't he? Quite interesting. This is the national team. Let's just have a quick look at them overall. So he is by far the best player there. They've got a few players that are okay, but nothing special in there really. If we just have a look at the under-21 squad, no potential in there really. So we are going to have to give them a bit of a helping hand if you want to see them get up there with Norway and Finland and Iceland in particular. Thank you for all the support on the first 3 parts, by the way. If you're still enjoying the series, please smash that like button. It would be much appreciated. It just lets me know that you're still interested. Couple of requests. I've already had a look at Faroe Islands. Now, one other point about Faroe Islands is that because in real life they are part of the Kingdom of Denmark, they are actually a self-governing nation in their own right, but they do technically, a bit like Greenland, they belong to Denmark. So Denmark might be nicking a lot of the Faroe Islands players, like the best ones. I'm surprised they didn't nick Dan Jacobsen. I'm not sure if that is. I'm not 100% sure that's happening, but it could be happening in this game. Another request was to have a look at the coefficients of clubs in Europe. You can see here. So we can have a look at some of the best teams in Europe. And looking down the list, the 2 highest are actually 2 teams in Finland. Then we've got a few of the other Nordic countries. Where's Molde? Apparently, someone said it's... I've had various people saying Molde, as I was pronouncing it. The Norwegian team is pronounced Molde. So AH at the end, or EH, something like that. So I might still be wrong. I should really listen on Wikipedia. Wait a second. Molde is the pronunciation that someone put on Wikipedia. So we'll go with that. But anyway, I can't see that. Where are they? They've won the Euro Cup. They've been in the Champions League final. Or was that Tromsø? Can't remember. I think Molde are in the Champions League final. There they are. They're 42nd. So this is the coefficients by European standards. But this is nation coefficients. This is interesting. Denmark are at the top. Finland are 6th. Iceland are 7th. Norway 11th. They're doing really well. Nation club coefficients though. This is European. This is for European football, isn't it? So Norway and Denmark and Finland up there. But qualification places, this is the best thing to look at to see how successful a team is, or a nation is, and the club football is. You can see Norway and Denmark both get 1 place in the group stage of the Champions League, as do Finland. So that's pretty good actually. They also get teams going into the third qualifying round of the Champions League, and Iceland get a team in the third qualifying of the Champions League. And what's this one? What's the difference between? That's best place third qualifying, and that is third qualifying round. And then Sweden only get a team in the second qualifying round of the Champions League. So domestically, Norway, Finland and Denmark are doing very well. Euro Cup wise, you can see there as well. Anyhow, let's get down to business and look at the European Football Championships. This was the 2061. I've holiday through to 2063, so we're going to look at the 2062 World Cup in this stopping point as well. I'll probably look at another 4 World Cups in this part. You can see Spain beat Italy. It was hosted by Norway. But once again, we've only got Iceland winning this competition. And they're also the only nation to feature in a final. It's a bit odd, really. If you look at the group stages, though, Norway qualified top, Denmark did as well, Finland actually got knocked out, and Iceland went through. No Sweden, though. And then in the second round, we saw Denmark beat Austria on penalties, and Iceland beat Israel in extra time. Norway beat France in extra time as well, and Sweden went through on penalties. Oh, Sweden were in the group stage, what am I talking about? So Sweden did qualify. That's a cracking game, actually, 4-4, then they won on penalties. Quarter-final stage, Iceland lost against Spain, Denmark beat Sweden, and Norway lost against England. So Denmark the only team to get through to the semi-finals, where they lost against Spain 3-2. So that was actually Sweden's first time getting through to the quarter-final. At least they got past the second round this time. Now you see some of the interesting names of the stadiums, but in particular, someone spotted this one. Fuchs Stadium is Molde's stadium. 83,276,000 seater, and it's named after their legendary manager Christian Fuchs, who also managed... Did he manage Norway at one point? Can't remember who he managed exactly, but they had Christian Fuchs in charge of their team for ages. As you can see, where is he? Oh, he's all the way down here now, but he was in charge for 11 years, as you can see here. And then he was made Norway manager in 2044, so he's got a stadium named after him. It's quite random, but quite funny at the same time. Moving on to the World Cup then. Belgium, world champions, beating Portugal in the final. Unfortunately, no Nordic final this time, but Norway did finish third. So Norway are doing really well at the moment. They finished third, second and third. They just can't quite get to that stage of winning a World Cup, but certainly been very successful lately, consistently successful as well. Finally seeing them have some success, but not quite managing to win the major competitions. What? They've managed to get to a World Cup, Krakow. Assume that's how you pronounce it. I think it's a tiny island, I'm sure. That is amazing. I don't really know much about them, to be honest, and I'm down with my countries and geography. Got a geography degree, but I don't really know anything about them. But they managed to get through to a World Cup anyway. That doesn't matter. We saw Norway win their group, Finland win their group, Denmark and Iceland qualify from Group F. But is there no Sweden? Have I missed them again? No Faroe Islands. Then in the second round we saw Norway beat Morocco 3-0 and Finland beat Iceland in an all-Nordic second round 2-1, and Denmark managed to beat Chile 2-0. Quarter-final stage, Norway beat Holland in extra time, Finland beat Italy, and Denmark lost against Portugal, meaning we had a Finland-Norway third place playoff. Those are the semi-finals, but you can see here on penalties as well, this time Norway getting fortunate with their penalty shootout and managing to beat Finland. So massive clash there. Denmark still haven't managed to get past the quarter-final stage. 5 second round finishes and 5 quarter-final finishes for Denmark, a bit unlucky for them. So Norway have certainly been the most successful team recently. Obviously Iceland won 2 World Cup finals in a row, but since then Norway have been pretty consistent, very high up the world rankings. Finland are actually second in the world rankings though. You can have a look there. Sweden down in 18th, didn't manage to make it to the last World Cup. If we just look at their competition history, this is their World Cup history. They've been inconsistent at making it to World Cups. They didn't get to the first 3 that we saw. Then they made the next 5 and managed to finish second and 4th in the World Cup, but they've only made 1 since 2046. Once again, no Nordic finalists in the Euro 2064. This is frustrating now. I don't know why they're being a lot more successful in the World Cup, let's be honest, and it's a bit annoying. I don't know what's happening. Overall though, the Nordic nations have done really, really well in this experiment. Sweden, top of their group in Group B. Iceland qualified in 3rd place from Group C. Norway and Denmark qualified from Group E, and Finland knocked out in the group stage again, I think, for the second time in a row. I might be wrong, can't remember everything. So Sweden beat Iceland in the second round 3-1, and Denmark managed to beat Croatia 1-0, but Norway knocked out by Italy 1-0. Moving on to the quarterfinals, where Denmark lost against Sweden this time. So the only two Nordic nations getting through to the quarterfinals had to face each other, and Sweden came out on top, playing a classic old 4-4-2. But in the semi-final they lost against eventual winners Germany. Bit unlucky there. Just wasn't quite good enough, but they were the most successful team this time round. Well then, this is fantastic. Finland have managed to win their second World Cup. They've won the 2066 World Cup final against Holland in Spain. Finland and Iceland are just doing so well on this experiment. They really are. Every time you think maybe one of the other nations like Norway are going to catch up, or Sweden after their good, impressive European Championships, it's just Finland and Iceland always coming back into it. And Finland, can they catch Iceland? Iceland 3 World Cups, Finland 2. Oh, this is remarkable. It really is. Well done to Finland again. They've just come from nowhere after a terrible Euros in 2064. They've managed to win the 2066 World Cup final. Let's just go down and look at the group stage first of all. Sweden knocked out in the groups. I mean, they had such a good Euros and then they just failed in the World Cup. But at least they managed to qualify this time though. Iceland managed to just about qualify from Group E. Denmark top of their group. Finland top of their group, but they did actually lose a game. Norway knocked out though in Group G after an impressive 3 World Cups in a row. Of course, no Faroe Islands this time. Then in the second round we saw Iceland managed to knock out Denmark 1-0 and Finland beat England 3-1. Really good win for Finland in this one. So the 3 second round teams, only two remained, and once again we had a clash between two Nordic nations. Finland beating Iceland 3-2 and a hat-trick from this guy, Jerry Lane, who looks a very impressive player. He's 33 years old, plays for Roma, decent player, 35 goals in 50 games for Finland. And then in the semi-final, Finland beat Brazil 2-0. They certainly deserved this, haven't they? They've been beating some big teams and doing really, really well. And then in the final, they thrashed Holland 3-0. Jerry Lane with another goal, Heinola with the other, 30-year-old clinical striker, 53 goals in 57 games for Finland, plays for Real Madrid, and the last goal was scored by Jarkko Ratainen, who's got 23 goals in 38 games for Finland. So let's look at the world champions. They were second in the world for a long time, but they've dropped to 4th, but surely... Oh, we are actually 6 months later, aren't we? Which is maybe why they've dropped to 4th. But they've done so well lately, haven't they? Look at the current ability of the best player. It's Johannes Juvonen, who plays for Arsenal, who is a winger, world-class winger. They've got good players in this team. It's not as good as the Icelandic teams that won the World Cup, I would say. Potential-wise, lots in there. They've got some players that are sort of... I think they're in their prime at the moment, which is probably why they've won the World Cup. They've got a few players that are ageing. And caps-wise, they've got one guy with over 100 caps, but then it's quite a mixed bag. I mean, there's not a huge amount of experience in terms of caps in the team. And goal-wise, only 2 players with over 20 goals for their nation. But perhaps there's some good youngsters coming through. Oh, there is. There's this 18-year-old Rico Ojaju, a central midfielder who has real bucket loads of potential, 197. And then Vuorinen with 187. And the under-19s, not so much potential in there, but there is a bit. So the future might be bright for Finland. Perhaps they can capitalise on this golden generation and win a couple more competitions. We'll just check up on Faroe Islands quickly. Interestingly, they've climbed all the way to 55th in the world rankings. I don't know if it's because they're through to European Championship qualifying semi-final stage. Can they get through this and qualify for another Euros? That would be amazing. Sure, you're also wondering how Dan Jacobsen is doing, this 27-year-old world-class striker who has got to 197 current ability. He's got there, almost, just one off 198, but he's pretty much got there. 51 goals in 82 games for Faroe Islands, and he's playing plenty of games for AC Milan and scoring plenty of goals. If you look at the bottom, 30 and 43, 28 and 35, 38 goals in 49 games, 34 goals in 42 games, and this season so far 7 in 14. What a player he is. 20 dribbling, 20 heading, 19 finishing, 17 composure, 18 off the ball. He's got brilliant physicals. This This is a unbelievable, sensational player. And with him up front for them, they are managing to climb up the world rankings. They're winning games, as you can see here. Lost against Holland twice in their European Championships group stage. But other than that, they managed to win or draw their games. And they finished third, just behind Croatia. That means that's why they're in the semi-final stage of Euro qualifying. But we'll see if they can qualify for the 2068 European Championships in the next update, which is just about to be now. Finally, some more success in the European Championships. This is the 2068 European Championships you're seeing at the top here. And Finland beat Sweden in the final. 2 Nordic nations in the final. And Finland come out on top. They have been so good lately. Sweden so unlucky again, losing another final. Must be a bit frustrating for them. But the main question you're probably asking is, did Faroe Islands qualify? And unfortunately, they didn't manage to qualify. They are 50th in the world, but if we just go back, you can see here, they got through to their final of the European Championship qualifying stage, but they got defeated by Northern Ireland in the end. And they just, they're so unfortunate, aren't they? And they unfortunately didn't qualify for the World Cup final either. They only lost 2 games in World Cup qualifying, once against Denmark and once against Georgia, but it was just the finest margins. Beat Malta 7-0. Dan Jacobsen scored all 7 goals. That is just ridiculous. He's now 30 years old. 71 goals in 100 caps for Dan Jacobsen. And he's an unbelievable player. You can see he actually won Champions League Golden Boot Award. He must have won the Champions League with AC Milan, actually, looking at this. He's won it twice in the last few years. They also won it down in 2057. But he's a fantastic player. It's just, if he had other players around him with Faroe Islands, then they'd definitely be going to European and World Cups. It's a bit unlucky, really. Anyway, going back to the Euros, Iceland qualified in 3rd place behind England and Scotland. We saw Sweden win their group with 9 points. Denmark go through with 3 points. Norway go through with 7 points. And Finland go through with 6 points at the top of their group. Then in the second round, Denmark beat England, Sweden thrashed Iceland 4-1. Iceland have dropped off since their 2 World Cup victories. Then Finland beat Switzerland 3-0 and Italy beat Norway 3-0. Quarter-final stage, Finland beat Portugal 1-0, Sweden beat Italy in extra time 3-2, and France defeated Denmark. So they got knocked out. Another quarter-final stage. In the semi-finals, Finland beat Turkey 3-1 and Sweden got through on penalties against France before the final. Finland won on penalties. You've got to feel sorry for the likes of Sweden and Norway that have lost finals and penalties, considering Finland and Iceland have just been so damn greedy with this, aren't they? They're the only ones to actually win anything. Both of them playing 4-4-2. Retaining managed to get another goal in the final. Marcus Andersson with Sweden's goal. Looks a really good player, actually. 91 goals in 79 games for Sweden. Plays for Arsenal. What a player he is. So Sweden very unlucky not to win. Interestingly, Sweden every single time out of the last 3 European Championships have managed to get one better. So they managed to get to the quarter-final for the first time, then the semi-final, and now they're runners-up. Can they win it next time round? They're 4th in the world rankings. Finland are top, though. They are just so dominant at the moment. Denmark 6th. Iceland, despite perhaps not doing so much in the last few years, still up in 7th in the world rankings. I'm sure they still have some good players in here. This guy's apparently their best player. 36 years old. Perhaps best reputation player anyway. Plays for Liverpool. Yeah, 190 current ability is their best player. Robert Gunnarsson, another Gunnarsson. What a player. We have produced some monsters, haven't we? So our 3rd World Cup of the day was won by France, but look who was in the final. Finland. Getting to their 2nd final in a row, but unfortunately losing against the French. Brazil finished 3rd for the 2nd time in a row. World Cup took place in Argentina, so Finland unlucky not to win a 3rd competition in a row. They've been sensational. Finland won their group easily, 9 points. Iceland also won their group with 7 points. Denmark went through. Sweden went through with 9 points. They've done really well lately. Where's Norway? Did Norway not make it? I suppose that's the issue with qualifying for the World Cup. They're not going to qualify for every single one because there's so many European teams trying to get into the World Cup. A lack of places, I guess, available. Second round, Denmark beat Iceland. Once again, Iceland facing another Nordic nation, but come in a cropper. We saw Finland beat Belgium 2-0. Sweden go through on penalties after a 4-4 classic. That's the second time it's happened. Quarter-final stage, Denmark lost against Finland. You can see there. And Sweden lost against Italy. For the semi-final, Finland beat Italy to get through to the final, where they were defeated 3-1 by France. Goal scorer for Finland was Heinola. Wow, 20 on finishing, composure and off the ball. 85 goals in 92 games. He's 33. I'm not sure I haven't seen this guy before. He's not, the current ability-wise isn't that strong. I suppose he was up there with 187 at one point. He's now 33 and dropping off. But as a poacher, or even more than a poacher, he's got brilliant dribbling, corners, free kicks, headers, passing as well, penalty taken. He's an unbelievable player. Flair. What a player. He's a dream striker. And we may have seen him before. Is this a different Real Madrid guy or the same Real Madrid guy? Anyway, he plays for Real Madrid. Yeah, so Finland a bit unlucky really, not to win their second World Cup in a row. Will they catch up with Iceland? Iceland must be looking over their shoulders a bit worried now. So this is the last update of part 4, and as you can see, another all-Nordic final, and Sweden have come out on top. I think they deserved that after a very successful few years, and they beat Denmark in the final. We've had 2 all-Nordic finals in a row. This European Championship took place in England, but well done to Sweden. They've worked hard and they've managed to get it. I'm sure there's lots of you Swedish people watching this, celebrating now, going wild in the streets. We won a European Championship on Football Manager. Sweden top of their group with 9 points. Denmark also top of their group. Iceland also top of their group, and Finland top of their group as well. Norway did go through. They've dropped off. They had 3 good World Cups and they've suddenly just gone missing. In the second round, Denmark beat Croatia in extra time. Norway lost against Sweden 3-0. That is a clash. Norwegians look away now. Finland beat Germany 3-1, and Iceland lost against Holland 2-1 in the second round. And then the quarter-final stage, Denmark beat Turkey, Finland beat England, both of them 1-0. Sweden then beat Holland 3-1. They're scoring plenty of goals in this competition. And in the semi-final, Sweden beat Italy on penalties, and Denmark beat Finland on extra time. So Finland they've got to 3 finals in a row. They've won 2 of them, and now they've lost in the semi-final. So they're having a final time at the moment. Let's just have a quick look at that game. Hat-trick from Carsten Clausen for Denmark. We've produced some incredible players. I mean, this is never going to happen. Let's be honest. There's never going to be a nation that produces so many world-class players in a matter of years. I suppose Brazil and Argentina do that regularly, but so I guess it is possible with the right coaching and stuff and the right facilities at clubs. And Sweden beat Italy on penalties. And then the final, 2-0 at Wembley. Sweden defeat Denmark. Spheric Denmark. Yes, great stuff. So let's look at the European Championship winning team. Although it's different now because we're actually a few years after that final. They've got an Icelandic in charge, Jacobsen. Sweden very high in the world rankings. They're 4th, highest out the Nordic nations. Iceland, then Denmark, Finland, Norway, Faroe Islands. Where are you, my friends? Where are you? Have I gone past you? Maybe. 73rd. They've gone up 30 places all of a sudden, though. That's really good. I wonder what happened to Dan Jacobsen. Is he still playing at the age of 500? He's still alive. He's 34. I think he's retired from... Yeah, he's retired from international duty. In fact, the last time we looked at him, he was on 100 caps. So he retired from international duty quite early on. Obviously had enough of the Faroe Islands. He's considered to be a legendary striker. He's still got 190 current ability at the age of 34. Been playing for AC Milan for so many years. Lots and lots of league goals there. 391 league goals. 523 games. He really is a sensational player, and I hope he's managed to win a World Player of the Year for Faroe Islands' sake, because we want to see them getting some more points on the Excel spreadsheet, don't we? So I've just realised, I said in the last part, in the last update, that Sweden had gone 1 better every single time for the last 3 European Championships, and they've gone 1 better again by winning this. That is amazing, an amazing story. They managed to get their first quarter-final in this first update of this video, and in the second one they finished in the semi-finals. The third one, runners-up, and this 4th one, they've won it. Amazing growth from Sweden. If I was giving out most improved awards for part 4, Sweden would definitely get it. Right, it's time to look at the European International League then. So since the last part, so since 2050, since 2058, Norway have managed to win it another 2 times. They've definitely been the most successful team in the European International League. They beat Iceland in the final, they've lost 5 finals and they've won once, but they also lost against England in 2063. And then since then, the only finalists we've seen is Norway. Portugal have done really well in this competition actually, but Norway 2 more wins in the International League and Iceland 2 more runners-up awards. In fact, Norway have not lost a single final. When they've got to the final, they have won it. So that's really good achievement. Confederations Cup then. We've only seen 1 more winner since the last update, which was Finland in 2069, managing to beat Argentina. So well done to Finland. We've also seen Iceland finish 3rd place once again, and Sweden 2 3rd place finishes in the last couple of Confederations Cups. So let's have a look at club competitions. Euro Cup then. So since 2058, have we seen any Nordic nation clubs feature in a final and more importantly win it? I don't think we've seen any clubs even feature, unfortunately. And the Champions League then, have we had any success? We've had no one. No one has managed to win this competition yet. We've only had 1 runners-up so far, which was Molde from Norway. Let's just have a quick look at the Nordic nation leagues that we're able to see. Molde actually haven't dominated since 2059. They've only won it once, but we've seen Tromsø, Viking and Kilhemne win it a few times. The Finnish Premier League has certainly been a mixture of teams winning it. The likes of Ilves, FC Lahti, Cups and FC Inter. The Swedish Premier Division has been dominated by Hammarby Football. Falkenbergs have also won it once, and Malmo have managed to win the last one, but they've been really poor. In fact, they've only won it about 4 times, which is, you'd have thought they'd win it a lot more times. But Hammarby have been dominant. Have they ever been dominant in the past? I don't really know much about the history of Swedish football, but looking down, they won it in 2001. I can't see them winning it they may have won it a few other times, but they have been completely dominant since 2059, only losing 3 championship titles. The Danish Superliga, this Midtjylland have dominated since, well, 2063 really. We saw Nordsjælland winning it quite a few times, swapping every year with Midtjylland. But Midtjylland have won the last 9 championships, I think, if I counted that correct. Copenhagen just haven't been anywhere for many years. Since 2045, that was the last time they managed to win it. But Midtjylland, certainly the best team in Denmark at the moment. 4-star reputation, worth a lot of money. A key player, Ronnie Beck, is actually a very good Danish international, 107 caps for the defensive midfielder. Lastly then, the Icelandic Premier Division, which has been won by IBV pretty much every year, apart from a couple years, Fjordnir winning it a couple of times, and Fjordkir have won it in the past as well, but recent years been dominated by those 2 teams, particularly IBV. Well, Golden Ball then. So the most recent one has actually been won by Iceland, but let's go from, I think the last one we saw was 2058, if I'm correct. I hope I'm correct there, which was won by an Icelandic. Since then, we've seen another Danish winner. They didn't win any in the last part, but in part 2, I think, we saw them dominating the World Golden Ball and World Player of the Year, but it was Jeppe Larsson who played for Real Madrid at the time. He's now an under-19s coach, actually. So he won it twice in a row, so 2 wins for Denmark. Then Finland managed to win it in an all-Nordic 3 places there in that World Golden Ball. Denmark and Finland featuring in 2062, but this guy, Larsson, coming back to win it. He's won it 4 times. Twice in a row for Denmark there. And then 2 Finnish guys getting 1st and 2nd place. Johansen, at the age of 34, winning it for Finland. I really want the Faroe Islands guy to feature, but I don't think he is. Then the Swedish guy, I can't see Dan Jacobsen's name, which is annoying. There's lots of winners if I just filter up. I'll count these up and put them into the spreadsheet. Norway featuring heavily. Oh, Dan Jacobsen, 2nd place at the age of 33. Why can't you just win it? That is just so unfair. I hope he won World Player of the Year. Please. Please. Is this World Player of the Year? Where is he? He's not there. Why? Why did you do this, game? You should have let Dan Jacobsen win. Why are there too many good players? He finished 2nd again. Oh, this Norwegian guy, Lurtsen, winning it every year. Let's look at him. I bet he's not as good current ability-wise as Dan Jacobsen. It's a fix. Oh, he is very good, actually. 60 goals in 74 games for Norway. But his current ability is a lot lower than Dan Jacobsen's at the moment. 182 potential he had. He had nowhere near as much potential as Dan Jacobsen. who is the same age as him. This could be a fix. This is the game just ruining it. He's got 190 current ability. The other guy's got 155 at the same age. He's useless. He's completely useless compared to Dan Jacobsen. He's the hero. I'm liking Dan Jacobsen far too much here. But Lurtsen is the winner 3 times in a row. Let's look at his goal record. It's probably because he plays for PSG. He's not scoring as many goals. Last year he won it with 22 goals in 38 competitions. Games. I'm getting mixed up. I'm too pumped up here. Dan Jacobsen, as away days would say, I'm pumped. Let's look at Dan Jacobsen. Last season, he scored loads more goals. 37 goals in 49 games. This is a fix. It's a bloody outrage, this. I'm complaining to Miles Jacobsen. I'm going to write to him. He should like this guy, Dan Jacobsen. He's got the same bloody last name. Anyway, I'll calm down now, but we wanted Dan Jacobsen. He's the people's winner, I'm going to say. Well, I went through all of the usual standard international league and all that nonsense without actually showing you the 2074 World Cup, which was won by Spain. Iceland managed to get to another final, but unfortunately they lost their first ever World Cup final. They've won 3 and lost 1, but did really well to get through to another final after disappearing in this part, but they've managed to come back into the game. Nice to end with a World Cup, actually, isn't it? Get through all the World Player of the Year stuff and then move on to the World Cup. So let's have a look at the group stage. Finland got through in second place behind Brazil. Denmark ahead of eventual finalist Iceland. Have Denmark got to every single World Cup? I think they might have. Sweden also finished top of their group with 9 points. Second round then. Finland defeated by Spain 1-0. Iceland beat Argentina in extra time. Denmark thrashed Portugal 4-0. Really good from Denmark. Italy beat South Korea. I'm not sure why I'm saying that. Sweden beat Colombia 2-1. So Sweden have got through to a quarter-final where they were defeated by eventual runners-up Iceland 1-0. Omerson with the winning goal. Looks a decent, very good player. I mean, just look at the quality of this guy. He's very good. In real life, for Iceland, he'd have multiple caps by the age of 26. He's only got 14 caps. It shows the strength in depth that these Nordic nations now have. And in the other quarter-final, Denmark lost against Italy. They can't get past the bloody quarter-final, can they? Semi-final stage, Iceland beat Holland 2-0. And then in the final, they were defeated in extra time 3-1. So unfortunate. Johannes actually managed to equalise for Iceland 4 minutes after they went behind, but Spain were just too much for them in extra time. But well done to Iceland for that. Let's just have a look at the spreadsheet to finish today off then. So then, World Cup wise, we've seen Finland win 2 World Cups so far, and Iceland have managed to win 3. But both of them, well, Iceland have managed to finish runners-up and 3rd place and 4th place. Finland have finished 4th place twice and 3rd place for Finland as well. Can Finland overtake Iceland? In the comment section below, let me know if you think they can get ahead of them. Or will another nation come from nowhere and grab the accolade of winning the most World Cups in this experiment? There's not long to go now, remember. We've just had the 2074 World Cup. So we've got a few left until I end the experiment, but not a huge number. You can see Norway and Sweden have also been runners-up in the World Cup. Norway have probably made the least World Cups, apart from Faroe Islands, of course. 9 World Cups they managed to qualify for. Sweden, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, Sweden have made the least 7 World Cups they've qualified for. Denmark are so frustrated about not getting past this quarter-final stage. Really unlucky for them. European Championships then. We had a lot more success in this part. We've managed to get 2 more winners of the Euros. We've seen, let's just try and show both the nations and the winners. Sweden and Finland managed to win it this time round to add to Iceland's victory. Sweden have also finished runners-up semi-final and 1 quarter-final on this last part. Denmark have managed to get to 4 semi-finals and they have managed to be runners-up now, which is great. Norway struggling to get past the second round. They've managed to reach the quarter-final twice, but second round 9 times for Norway, Sweden and Iceland. It's been a bit of a frustrating tournament overall for our nations. So the International League has been won 5 times by Norway and once by Finland, Denmark and Iceland. Iceland have also been runners-up 5 times, so that's a little bit frustrating for them. But Norway really doing very well in this, considering they're not doing particularly well in any other competition. And then the Confederations Cup, we've seen Finland win it twice. They are the only winners of this competition. Does that put them ahead of Iceland in regards to overall best team so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Sweden have finished third twice, and Iceland have finished runners-up twice and third place twice. A little bit frustrating for them. Norway, the only nation to have a club win a European domestic competition. Does that make sense? Domestic usually means your own country's competition. A European competition. World Golden Ball and World Player of the Year. Dan Jacobsen, I bloody love you. Norway have managed to win both 3 times. Sweden have won them both twice. I may have got this a little bit wrong, so I will double check at the end of the experiment to make sure these figures are correct. Finland, the second most successful nation with this, but Denmark running away with it. If only they could produce it on the pitch in terms of getting through to finals and winning finals. They've only got through to 1 final so far. They did win the European International League as well, though, let's be fair. Iceland have won 5 of each. So it's been great so far, lots of success. I'm really enjoying this. It's really interesting. I'd say it's the most interesting one so far. So thank you for watching. Thanks for the support. Please hit the like button if you've enjoyed today's video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And I will see you in part 5, where we'll see if we can get some more success from the Nordic nations.